There's conspiracy people, and I met a lot of them in the States. I've travelled a lot through
This country was founded upon a conspiracy.
Well,
what a difference a few days can make, huh? If this is the end, if this is the end of what I can do, this would be a fitting video to go out on. If I have to stop what I'm doing, I'm going to miss this. You're going to meet a brilliant young man, 22 years old. Probably knows more of what's going on than most people. Certainly knows a lot more of what's going on than I did at the age of 22. And then in comes a professor of public policy from Australia. Becomes a three-way conversation. I don't know where else on the internet you can find this kind of stuff. And again, how am I going to give this up? What am I going to do? Sit in front of this computer and do what? Well, our dumbass mayor, of course, has just about shut this city down. I'm going to probably go out just to see what the streets are like this weekend. Why? In the hopes I run into more people like this young man. And he isn't the only one and the only reason why I don't want to stop going out there. There's a few more videos that I'll be putting up from people I met this past week that are going to make it hard for me to stop this. And you know what? If it all ends out there on that street for me, that'd be a good way to go. Oh well. Things usually never turn out as bad as you think they're going to be. And I pray that's true here too. But I don't want to spend too much time here on this, because this is a long conversation, it's a long video. Of course, you get the luxury of listening to as much of it as you want at any time you want. But it was hard for me to cut anything out of this video because it just flowed. Every part of it meant something on another part. And then seeing the contrast between this 22-year-old kid and then this professor. The kid was a lot smarter than the professor. You know what to do. If you like it, you like it. If you care, share. If you can contribute. Pray for me. Please pray for me. Pray for all of us. I'll see you on the other side.
I'm not Trump's biggest fan because I am kind of a conspiracy theorist. But I'll tell you what, there's some. If you like research, have you ever heard of QAnon?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, well, I figured you would. I've been researching that a lot lately. There's some truth in that. A lot of people think it's BS. The predictions usually are really similar to what actually happens, and I sense really good things going on in this nation. I know a lot of kids my age, we get a lot of crap from older people. A lot of really smart kids my age, but a lot of really dumb ones too. But this coronavirus, man, something doesn't feel natural. If you know what, like, does it feel natural to you?
Well, if I was let's say a depopulationist, I think the first thing I would target would be old people with a bioweapon.
Exactly. And then
you could go from there and start reading people.
The problem with conspiracy theories, people think there's just one layer to it.
Yeah.
There is. I call it a web.
Yeah.
It's a web, and so you'll hear one person say, well, that's not right because this happened. No, but there's an offshoot of everything. And with this coronavirus, do you not know how much they can get out of this? They can take off the old people. They can crash the economy. They can get everybody scared. There's something weird going on with stress.
Oh yeah, well you're obviously up on this enough to know. That they always try to keep us in tension.
Exactly.
Always.
And I'm 22 now, about to be 23. I've been open-minded and conscious of the stuff I say since I was like 12 or 13, and so the more you learn, the more knowledge you get, but also the more you don't know.
Indeed.
And so a lot of people, it's a rabbit hole.
Oh yeah.
And once you go down it, you're not coming back.
Amen. Red pill, blue pill, right?
Exactly. I heard. I'm not. It's a very, very bad joke. I'm not going to say it around these people. Want to be very tasteful, but there is. I'm glad you said about the stress because I feel like I've been researching this stuff for a while, and I don't hear many people talk about that. But it's almost. You may think I'm crazy, but it's even like with traffic jams.
Daylight savings. It gets deep.
It's so deep, and you can just. I can't really prove it. Some of my friends are like, "Well, you need to prove that that's what they're doing." I can't do it. It just. It just does not feel.
If you keep researching, you will find their plans. They actually go ahead and broadcast their plans.
Where like
they write books about it. You can read Brzezinski's Clash of Cultures.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, you can read the Tragedy and Hope, which is probably the Bible for the Illuminati's blueprint to take over the world.
It's like a book that I haven't fully read, but Behold the Pale Horse.
Yes, very good.
That book is something that there's so many offshoots of that, and UFOs. Everybody's obsessed with UFOs, and don't get me wrong, I find them fascinating, but I've done a lot of research. I personally think there's a correlation between UFOs and demons.
Oh, sure. Yeah, if you do, of course, there. who's the English guy? Reading one of his books right now, I can't remember. But he's very much into reptilians.
Oh, David Icke.
David Icke, you know. Now, when you get into this, the more you get into it, you realize that this is more of a spiritual battle than anything else.
Definitely is.
You
Most
know?
definitely is.
And you know that the things that they're doing, no human would do.
No.
So that's where it goes to the, you know, the whole demon spirituality.
And I am a Christian. I am, but there are some fishy things in it, and so I kind of separate the two, and so I grew up in the South. I grew up in North Carolina, and so when you're there, of course you're going to grow up Christian. But I remember getting older and being like, there's something more going on too, because almost like modern day Christians are materialists. I would talk about spirits and stuff, and people be Christians, strong Christians.
Well, a lot of the churches themselves have been taken over by the demonic forces.
They have. They most definitely have. And one of my grandpa, I love my grandpa to death. One of his best friends used to be a pastor, and he's actually from here, but he lives in Charlotte now. And I went to see him last year because I've been going through some stuff, and he's really good at praying with people, but he gets these insights, not any kooky voodoo stuff, but he's a Christian pastor, and he'll come with you and pray. And he started telling me stuff that casting away stuff that I buried deep down that I've never told anybody. And so that really changed my perspective on Christianity, because I was like, oh, okay, there are actually Christians out there that know about this stuff. And so,
people have gifts, and if they open themselves up to the true Spirit of God, those gifts will shine through. They will be fed. They will be fed, and then you realize, then you share them, because the idea is to spread that word.
Yep, you got to
do that.
And if you notice something with the powerful elite, they're not creative.
No,
they're not creative, and that's why I love about this city, because even the homeless people, the what you would call bums or whatever, a lot of them are creative as hell.
Oh, you got to be to live on the street.
Yeah. You got to be, but. There's something with creativity too.
Well, I found, being out here, obviously I deal with a lot of street people.
Yeah.
A lot of them have been persecuted because before this they spoke out, or they were
really.
Oh yeah, sure. They will be. You're targeted if you try to speak out. You know
are.
that.
And it's done in a way where it's not. You see like these famous YouTubers and stuff, they get quote unquote persecuted, and that's like the obvious ones. But like what you just said, like kind of lower class people, working class people, it's done in a way that doesn't seem organized, but it is very detailed, and you won't see mass protest about it, but it's almost like that. The bosses, they don't know. It's a hierarchy, and so the elites, I don't even think they control it. Like you just said, it's clearly demonic forces that are. I have a quote: "The ventriloquists have ventriloquists."
Okay.
That's how I view it, and it clearly. When I talk about this, it sounds like I'm on LSD or something, but that's what it does to you.
Yeah, oh, indeed. No, you're absolutely right on the right track. I'm glad to see you at your age, this in tune with the true nature of what's going on.
There's a lot of people out there.
Oh, I know. I run into them. I'm going to attract them. You know, that's the good thing about being out here in the street. This is the front line. I mean, if you're an InfoWar, you listen to InfoWars. You go to Breitbart. But you're not going to go to Huffington Post.
No.
Out here, I'm going to get a Huffington Post person come by and see my work, perhaps question me, start talking, and maybe I can plant a seed.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about. This is the front line.
And it is. I do not believe that the race relations and the class. I don't believe it's as bad as what.
That's made up.
It clearly is made up.
They want us fighting with one another.
They clearly do.
Yeah.
They clearly do. Me and my friend, we were walking down the Decatur the other day, and a Planned Parenthood guy came up, and originally I was standoffish. My friend wanted to listen. I was like, you can go ahead. I'm not listening to that BS.
Yeah.
Then he started talking, and I'm like, you know what? This is a really good conversation. And we talked for like 25 minutes, and he was a rational human being. And at the end, he's like, hey, like, I don't want to do this, but like, do you think you guys can? Because the way we were talking, it sounded like that we wanted to be a member.
Right.
And he asked me for the money. I was like, hey man, I really respect you doing this because I believe you believe what you're doing. And that's going to be the foundation to solving a lot of these problems. You may not agree with somebody, but if at least they believe what they're saying, then the foundation is there, and then we can kind of come together and try to figure out a problem. And I was like, hey man, I know it sounds like I wanted to join, but I actually don't I'm not a big fan of this organization. There are some things in Planned Parenthood that probably need to be brought up in the light, but abortion's one of them that I'm not a fan of. And he's like, man, I completely respect that. And then we went our separate ways, and he was black too. And I don't.
Did you bring it up to the fact that 54% of the black babies are aborted?
Yeah. Originally, when he came up to me, I was like, "Have you done the research on who founded Planned Parenthood?"
Sanger.
But what I don't know if you probably you're a lot smarter and more wiser than me. You probably have had this insight.
I just had more experience, but you've got plenty of knowledge and smarts. Come on.
It is just. Oh man, I can talk about this stuff for hours. I don't have many people that. You got some people that are on the base, like that right there. Believe it or not, that is base level. It goes way deeper and over here like a tunnel or something.
Yeah.
And I'm real glad that. I think it's really good that you are pro-American, but then also pro-calling bullshit out like that, and not being a mental drone. I see so many. I play video games, and there's a term called NPCs, non-player characters.
Yeah.
I see a lot of really smart, creative people, but it's almost like they're being pulled by a magnet or something.
Well, there's a thing to keep in mind. During the American Revolution, it started out with only 3% of the people.
Yes.
And at its height, 12% beat the largest empire in the world.
Yes, sir.
And it is always a small group of dedicated people that change the course of history. That's you. That's me. That's the people that are not the NPCs, that are going to keep on researching, keep on questioning, and take action on the things we find out. That's who changes this world.
Yes, sir. I completely agree. And that's why I'm not completely void of hope, because I have a lot of hope. They try to take the hope away from me.
Sure.
They try to. It's good to be realistic about stuff, but you need to have hope. There's no point in living if you don't have hope, and they are clearly trying to take hope from us.
That's their route. I mean, that's their route, to take away that faith. But if you read the Bible, who wins in the end?
Good.
We do.
Always.
Yeah.
Truth always prevails. You can see it in even the smallest, minute things in life. The truth always wins. And at the time, it may not seem good, because that's a hard truth. That's a hard reality to face, that the government that we've been taught that does everything good for us has lied to us about that. It's a hard reality to face, but once you break through that veil, then when you really know who's good, you appreciate them even more.
Well, it's either fight or flight. You're either once you're exposed to that, it's either fight or flight. You're either going to bury yourself deeper into the escape, or you're going to go, and wake up to it and start questioning.
Yes, sir. Of course, I don't like to put things in binary terms like this all the time, but I usually think there's two types of people in the world. There's one who finds the planet almost like a prison, and then they escape to their mind to free themselves.
You'd look good in it.
I know. That's awesome. I never dreamed we'd see one of these in public. It's like more people.
Especially in New Orleans in this liberal cesspool. I know. Here's a get out of jail free card from Hillary Clinton. As you know, it's good for any crime in the world.
I like it. Hillary Clinton, that rabbit hole, the Clinton Foundation.
Well, yeah, it goes on and on. So you can tap any being in there and start.
Yep. Even voodoo. I've heard a lot of weird things about Hillary Clinton and voodoo in Haiti.
Yeah.
You can find correlations in everything. I can walk down that road and look at a
This city is very much connected because it has a lot of voodoo. It has a lot of the. I call it. This is sort of like the Disneyland for the Illuminati. That's why they haven't destroyed the city yet. It's kind of, they come here to do a lot of their satanic rituals, and they've got a lot of base here. So it makes it interesting too.
It does, and you can almost feel it here.
Oh yeah,
you can almost feel it.
You can look at once you see what to look for. You can see the signs everywhere.
Symbols. You can.
Yeah.
My friend was in Dallas, and she said, just all the Freemasonry symbols. Just even right next to where JFK got shot, there's a Masonic temple there, and a bunch of just. I mean, it's just looking at a dollar bill.
I know.
Like, that's something when you're young, I remember always being like, why does our money look like that? And my parents are like, oh, we don't know.
Yeah.
But it's right there in front of us.
Yeah.
That's why we go to our job to chase the weird symbols, the weird Babylonian magic squares. That's what it is.
All part of their program is to put it in our face. They hide it in plain sight.
They do. And when you do research, you will start to see that it's almost a mockery.
Yes.
Even the Las Vegas shooting. Do 5 minutes of research on that, and it's clearly people.
I've talked to at least 7 people out here that were there that day in this concert that told me those shots came from ground level in different places.
Everybody says that. Yeah. I've met one person that said that too.
I talked to a cop that was on duty that day. Says they got multiple calls coming in down the strip of attacks in different casinos.
But I wanted to ask you a question. With something like that, do you think they mess up sometimes?
They mess up all the time.
Do you think it's done on purpose, or do you think there are like gaps in their ways?
They mess up. No, they're incompetent. They actually. The only thing they're good at is masking their incompetency.
Yeah, that's a really
control,
good.
Of the mainstream media and whatnot.
Like they are really good. Like if I say I spilled this coffee, I spilt it, but they're really good at pulling out a magic napkin and throwing it and then wiping it all away. Yeah. They're really good at cleaning it up.
Even the term conspiracy theory, it's PSYOP from the CIA. They came up with it. Thank you. And they're way ahead of the game.
And what a great way of doing it. Just like now with political correctness bullshit. Yeah. If somebody called me a racist, that would stick with me. All I'd have to do is somebody publish something about me calling a racist. Nobody would read it. They'd see the title. So spelling, even spelling spells.
Well, I think they overplay here in that sense too. In other words, they use it up so much that it becomes meaningless.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that. Yeah. When Donald Trump first ran, I was all in on this political correctness stuff is so annoying, and of course it is. Yeah. But it's clearly fabricated. It's clearly not even real, because people like us are I know some people you're not allowed to say that, but if you're halfway of a conscious person, you will see that it's all fabricated. It's all fabricated to get people to fight against each other. It's so synthetic, and that's why real rational people and creative people, it almost seeps through and breaks through that little veil that they've tried to put over us.
What do you do besides collecting knowledge? You ought to, as much knowledge you got as a young man, you ought to start your own blog.
So I I was in college, and I could do a lot of things. Since when you research all this stuff, you're going to gain confidence. It's going to break you, then you're going to gain a lot of confidence. And for a while, I had a nihilistic view on life. I was so negative, and I gained a lot of weight. But then I was like, I got to cut this bullshit out. And I kind of seeped through and took off that veil, and I opened up, but I also knew when to close.
That's a natural reaction. When you're faced with this much evil, you become overwhelmed. And you go, my God, I'm just one person. What can I do? You know, but then it comes a point, if you got a strong enough will and a spirit within you,
sir.
You know, it manifests itself. It comes back, all right, you felt sorry for yourself long enough. It's time to fight.
Yes, sir. I am glad you said that, because I want to publish a group of short stories.
Do it.
And right now I'm currently writing one. It sounds kind of weird, but I'm writing one about basically a woman being pregnant. That's like a spaceship. And so it's almost a science fiction novel. It's almost like a birth. It's an actual pro-woman story, not this bullshit.
Yeah, right.
An actual, because we need to actually respect women, not the political.
Right. Yeah, not the
actual
phony,
respect.
yeah.
And what I'm writing now, people think I'm on acid, of course, when I'm writing it, but it's basically, you find out halfway through the story, it's just birth.
Yeah, well, you're already probably past this, but, you know, you can't worry about what other people think.
Absolutely.
You just got to, do what you feel and just plow through it.
Wearing. Like, you can't worry about what anybody thinks.
I think you look proud of hip, man. I think you look cool.
I appreciate it. And a lot of people, man, I've had some really cool conversations with people just walking around. My friends, all they want to do is drink and everything.
Yeah.
And I've been getting up early just walking around and stuff. And I don't know. I like to, when you give out energy,
you seek it. Well, that's what I do. Well, part of the reason I started doing this, sitting in front of a computer and just doing this wasn't enough.
Nope.
I'm a visual artist, and I know that visual is important.
Oh, very important.
You know, so I taking my stuff to the street was, golden. Then this opened up a whole new avenue, and the people I've met out here make it all worth it. Having the conversations I have every day out here.
This is so great.
Yeah.
It's great for me, but I bet even more for you. Oh man,
it's very rewarding.
Oh, it definitely is. It's gotta be. Like, this is unbelievable. So I wanna buy one of these, but like I said, I would love to have that. I would love to have that, but my family would kill me. That right there. I'm trying to look for one for my grandma, because she loves Trump, and my grandma's 87, but she's starting to realize some of this stuff. She's starting to realize it. Like, older people, I think, are more in tune with kind of the natural side of life, and so it may be harder to grasp because years and years and years of indoctrination.
Yeah.
But I think once they see it,
but they also have time to contemplate.
Yep.
It's not like they're stressed with the jobs and everything like that.
Oh, that's a great point.
So
that's a great point.
So they have time to sit around and look at things and contemplate them. Check the other side out.
This is such a good piece right here. Oh, that is such a good piece.
Yeah.
Oh, these, man, if I had a place on my own, I would. Oh, that is so good. That's so important.
Yeah, if there's any one thing that Yang brought up, that was it.
Yeah.
I actually asked, and this video was taken down, but there was a Harvard professor of economics out here I was talking to one day, and I asked him, I said, what is that going to do to these people that we see walking around? And he says, well, in the next 10 years, about 50% of them will be out of work.
It's true.
And I said, and what are we going to do with all these out-of-work people without having a pause? He looked at me and said, well, in the past, we've killed you. So now we get back to the coronavirus. And then we get back to Bill Gates's quote.
Bill Gates, what a piece of shit.
Yeah.
What a piece. They're really good at. I remember when I was younger, I used to be like, "Oh, Bill Gates, he's rich and he does a lot of good." Nobody doesn't. Bill Gates is all of them are pieces of shit.
Not all of them. I don't know if you've watched Thrive. Have you watched Thrive at all?
No, I
All right. You're familiar with Procter & Gamble?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Foster Gamble, heir to that vast fortune, had an epiphany like you did and we all do.
Yeah.
And said that he was groomed to be a top 0.00001%er because they're vastly wealthy. And he broke from the agenda. He says, I'm surrounded by psychopaths. These people are insane.
Wow.
So he broke from the agenda and he made this documentary called Thrive.
I'm gonna put that in my notes.
Thrive. And it exposes government cover-ups for over 100 years. It shows he shows the pyramid, who's really running things, what's under them, how they control us. How the suppression of free energy for over 100 years, the technologies they suppress.
If you look into Nikola Tesla.
Thank you. He brings that up. This is all in there. So what I like about this documentary, he just doesn't bring up all the things that are wrong and the things they've done, which he very
easily
succinctly shows how they do it. He shows solutions. He goes, look, this is how we can get our power back.
Important.
Yeah.
That is important because even like the political correctness stuff, the reason why I got annoyed with it, because I hear everybody complain about it all the time. Oh, look how politically correct this shit is. Do something about it. Stop being scared. Of course you gotta be logical. I'm not gonna talk about this stuff at my job when I can, because if you read the Bible, it says, give the Caesars what is Caesar's and give the gods what is God's. And I think that's very profound.
Yeah, be wise. You know when to pick your fight.
You gotta know when to pick your fights. Gotta know when. But people just always bitching. Political correctness, oh man, but even on the conservative side, if you look during the Vietnam War, the conservatives they would pick on me if they saw me down the road. You hit me, like.
Oh, I went through that.
Really?
Oh, sure.
Like, I mean, look.
I was in Berkeley during the free speech, the whole movement. I was right there in the center of all that stuff.
Wow. So you've been. At what age did you start, like, maybe not learning about all of it, but the thing clicked, if you know what I mean? What age?
Oh, well, I've always been politically involved into it. But the realization of what was really going on came with a book called None Dare Call It Conspiracy. In 1972, I picked it up at a flea market. You can still get copies of it. And it's a very just small book, but it just cuts right to the chase of who's behind everything. The semi-secret and secret societies, names, connects the dots real quickly. So it was really an eye-opener. And I guess that was the thing that opened up I already, because of the Kennedy assassination, knew that he wasn't killed by Oswald.
So when you saw that, were there people that were like, there's something fishy behind this? Even the movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was. I mean, Cooper, who you brought up behind the pale horse, was back then. So, there were people that already were seen behind the curtain. But and then Alex Jones came out, later on.
Alex Jones, he gets a lot of hate from the conspiracy side of the world. That he has opened up my eyes to. If people are like, oh, he's crazy, how can you not be? You gotta be. You gotta. Me and you, we gotta be a little crazy.
Yeah.
You gotta.
The
be.
trick is not to become insane.
Yes.
You know, of course. Look what they've done with Tommy Robinson. I mean, the whole adage: stand up for what you believe and be prepared to be shot down. I mean, you're making yourself a target when you speak the truth.
You are. But the thing is people think when we talk about stuff like that, it's oh, you said that about a liberal, that means you're right wing, and look at this person. When you look through the veil, it's on both.
Well, the whole right-left paradigm is another tact of divide and conflict.
Of course, it absolutely is, and it gets so many people to bicker and bicker and bicker. And I think it's really important to, because everybody's not going to agree on everything.
No.
We need to see. We need to get the questions right.
That's why we sit here and try to talk it out.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we could find common ground. We're all on this earth together.
Of course we are.
So we all got to try to figure out, and there's always going to be ruthless psychopaths that try to control everything, and that's why politicians are basically psychopaths.
They are, and even if they aren't, Tulsi Gabbard, I have not. I haven't researched her enough. There's probably I've heard there's some fishy stuff behind her.
Well, the two things I don't like about her, she's into red flag laws, and she's still into believing in the whole green, the whole good Green New Deal deal.
Yeah,
that's other than that, I love her outtake on foreign wars.
Oh, unbelievable, unbelievable, and I wish Bernie went more into talking about. People act like Bernie is like he's a radical. He is for the people, and I think I'm not a Bernie supporter, obviously, but I'll tell you what, I do believe he believes what he's saying.
He believes what he's saying, but what he's believing is horrible.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
The climate change stuff. We need the.
Hi, ladies.
Can we have a picture with you?
Sure. Where are you guys from?
England. Florida originally.
Florida. You picked up that accent in Florida?
I'm from England, but I live in Florida.
Yeah,
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
You're familiar with this gentleman?
Who's that?
Tommy Robinson.
Tommy Robinson?
Check him out. I think you'd be proud of him. He's a good Brit.
Really?
Yeah. He's speaking up for the British people.
Do you know who he is, all right?
Look him up.
I will. Tommy Robinson.
So I heard what you said there about sort of finding a common question and coming together around a question or an issue. Do you think?
Sure.
Do you think so? Is that possible?
Well, I would hope so. I mean, there's always going to be compromise and disagreement. I mean, but the point is, where do you cross that line to start slitting throats? You've got to. We're living here together. We got to find a way to live together without, going to war.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the obvious issue at the moment, is the virus.
Yes.
Is that bringing America together?
I think, and we just discussed that, there's good reason to believe that this thing is a bioweapon. And they need a crisis to always keep us at tension and fear.
That's not helping, man. That is not helping, because all you're doing straight away is just politicizing it, going to...
It's being politicized.
It is, but you're not helping by turning into a conspiracy theory.
Well, the reason
Do you know where the conspiracy theory came from?
I'm not really.
Do you know where that phrase came from?
I'm not really interested. All I know is that
you should be.
Well, I'm here. I'm talking to you, but I'd ask you to listen to me as well. There's conspiracy people, and I've met a lot of them in the States. I've travelled a lot through
this country was founded upon a conspiracy.
Well, but it seems to encourage a lot of conspiracy theory, and with due respect to you, you're actually listening to me.
Yeah.
A lot of people that I meet just don't want to listen. They just want to talk over the top.
Oh, there's a lot of that.
I heard one yesterday. You might have heard. where I'm staying, the manager of the place, he's a pretty smart guy, I thought. He said that every one of these health crises, Zika virus, swine flu, going right back to AIDS, coincides with an American election cycle.
And someone else brought that up to me the other day.
Well, I googled that last night. Did some. I researched about 6 of those events.
Mm-hmm.
One of them coincides with American election.
Yeah, and that me and him were actually just talking about it. A lot of the conspiracy world is, I think we make and I don't like the term conspiracy theorist, but I say I am because it
Well, I'm conspiracy reality.
yeah, it's a conspiracy realist.
There are conspiracies. You know what? Look at the definition of conspiracy. 2 or more people get together to conspire.
Exactly.
That's true. That's true. I think it's like this. On one end, you've got sort of like really naive people that just believe everything that they're told, get everything from the media.
Yes, sir.
And on the other end, you've got the super conspiracy theorists who kind of believe everything's rigged, everything's,
Yes, sir.
The government's sort of, also international government, Jewish conspiracies, all sorts of stuff. George Soros, he's all mixed up in it. The truth is somewhere in the middle.
So yeah, I would say that there are extremes that you can go to. You got to have a rationalization. Like not all viruses are going to be, made in a biolab. But the fact of the matter exists. There are bioweapon labs all over the world.
That's true. Yeah.
And so you have to take that in consideration.
So look, yes, that's true. What's your suggestion on how this one started?
Well, considering that it is documented that that the Obama administration sold this technology, bioweapon technology, to China in 2009. And they do have very lax or very poor level 4 security in these labs, especially over there. We don't have it all that great here either. There's always the possibility that they could escape. I mean, they do have and have been working on specific biogenetic weapons. In other words, if they wanted all Irishmen to be killed, they can program that code, release a bioweapon to kill all Irishmen. Right now, this virus seems to be specifically targeting older people. Now, if I were
have you guys seen what's happening in Italy? They're cutting off funding to and basically they're saying older people are not worth saving, so we are not gonna give them any medicine or anything.
Well, that's a bit extreme, but that's true. The resources are stretched there, and they are prioritising. That's true. I think what you said is a little extreme. It's like a lot of things in it. It's partially true, but don't go the whole way. Don't
if I may,
well, the thing is, me and him were just talking about it. Like, if you, I know exactly what you mean. If you could have heard our whole conversation, you would kind of understand. We were talking about how sometimes conspiracy theorists act like the guy you said in your hotel was like, every election is cut. No, it's not. It's just flat out not. But because you can disprove a lot of conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
A lot of them are. A lot of times we act like we know the answers. Oh, on da 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 da.
That's a very good point.
Hello, do you mind if we get a photo?
Humans have got this incredible sort of desire to understand everything. So right around the world right now, there'd be literally millions of people sitting in bars and round coffee shops and stuff, all with their own bloody theory on what's going on. They don't know. People are extremely reluctant to acknowledge they don't really know what's going on. This is a classic example.
Me and him, we just
think you know, but I'm not sure what you do. No, I don't.
I'm still questioning, but I'm looking at, I'm going to listen to it. Like, there's a guy named Steve Pachenik who. This guy.
Hey, I got to get back to my friends, but you know, I love this. I know your stance. I completely understand. He knows his shit. I promise you. I'm 22, so I'm used to my friends like, oh, you crazy. You gotta have a little bit of the skeptical. If you're gonna be skeptical of Hillary, you gotta be skeptical of everything.
Yeah.
You can't just pick sides.
That's true.
I question Trump. I mean,
Yes, sir. You got to.
Question authority.
You got to. Both of y'all, thank you.
God bless you, sir.
You too. Have a good one.
Indeed. Glad to find young people like that. Yeah. But there's, if I would ask you to do this, look up quotes on depopulation and look at the people, powerful people, and what they've said about depopulating this earth. Listen to them. These are not fly-by-nights.
Look, you unlike me because I'm a university professor and I deal in some pretty sort of serious research.
What do you, what's your...
I'm from Deakin University in Australia.
And what do you teach?
I teach public policy.
Oh.
So, I'm sort of deep into this sort of stuff. And look, with the very greatest respect to you, what you just said then is not really going to cut. Look up some quotes. That's not really research. I'm sorry, but
you can look up their speeches. You can read their books. Read Carol Quigley's Tragedy and Hope. Read Brzezinski's, Clash of Cultures. I mean, one of the things about the occult, one of the things about the powers that be that have been trying to rule the world since time began, since there were the 13 bloodlines were ruthless enough to grab all the resources and then from there, control us, is the fact that they're psychopaths for the most part. They're ruthless psychopaths. These people are not interested. The only reason they've even kept us around this long is because they needed slave labor. Well, now, with the advent of AI robotic technology, they don't need us anymore. I mean, I was speaking to a professor of economics from Harvard out here one day, and I asked him, what is this going to do to the people we see walking the street here right now?
Yeah.
And he said, in about 10 years, 50% of them are going to be out of work.
Well, that's true.
And I said, and what are we going to do with all these out of work people? He didn't miss a beat. And he said, in the past, we've killed you.
No, that won't happen. I've got a better answer than that. Well, I've got another answer.
Oh, okay.
Well, look, why are these people working? They're working because they need to earn an income. But if we can find a way, now this is no crazier than this. If these things become so productive that they can do work for us and generate the income on our behalf, we don't need to work.
Yeah, but then what do we do?
Well,
work gives us meaning. Work gives us a sense of character. Work gives us pride. Work gives us, what we are. We have it, it's an identity for us.
That's all true.
I mean, what are we going to sit around and play video games?
Well, look.
Here's a guy right here. I just finished reading this book. You might want to get this and bone up on it. This Parsa essentially supposedly gave this information to Trump a year ago. But this is about exactly what we're talking about here, how the coming technology is coming in and how it's basically going to make us obsolete.
Look, you didn't actually hear my answer on what... I heard what you said about work giving life meaning. And that's true, but that's only because we haven't really thought outside the work sort of square. There's lots of other things you can do in life other than work. Here's one. Because of the way I've run my life, I've got some financial security. I'm just travelling around, talking to people like you. I could be back working, but I'm spending some time. So you won't like the sound of this, but that's what everybody can do.
Yeah, unfortunately, not everyone is as bright as you are and can't do that. I mean, most people need guidance. Most people want to be told what to do. So, most people are not going to be that individualistic. You are strong enough and intelligent enough to be able to have done that.
Yeah.
So, and you already brought it up yourself, that most people are, NPCs. They're just walking around looking, they don't know. They need guidance.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Look, I went to a Trump rally up in Charlotte a couple of weeks ago, just last week, Monday of last week. And back then, in that room, there was a really sort of strong vibe, and Trump was, pretty confident, very confident. And I would have sort of said, look, he's going to win the election easily, second term. I'm not so confident now. Well, I think he's in trouble now. He's making a speech today at 3 p.m. And unless I'm bet they're bloody working very, very hard on what he's going to say, unless that calms people down, I reckon he's finished.
Well, again, and I say they, and I'm talking about the powers that be, the ones that have, gained control about everything. I mean, they control the media, they control the finance, they control our government, they are infested with in every aspect. The deep state is deep. They don't call it the deep state for nothing. It controls a great deal. And he's coming in, he's upsetting the apple cart. You got to remember, he had his own party against him. He had virtually all the media against him. He had all of Hollywood against him. He had all of Silicon Valley against him. Yet he still won.
Yeah, I can see. Well, I can understand.
Why? Because he was resonating with the people. Because if I had a nickel for every time I heard he's saying what I think out here, I wouldn't be as rich as Trump.
How about this? When he got elected in 16, going into 17, a lot of people around the world thought, nah, his ideas are too crazy, and the market, that is Wall Street, and financial markets around the world will basically just lose confidence in America and in decline. That didn't happen. I've become quite wealthy on the back of Donald Trump, quite frankly, because my investments have done very well over the last 3 years. And so, in that sense, I kind of like him. I don't like many of his ideas, but I kind of like what he's done.
Well, even Bill Clinton said it's the economy, stupid.
Yes, that's true. But look what's happening now. The markets have lost confidence in him.
No, the markets have lost confidence in him. The markets have lost confidence in the supply chain being cut off.
Yeah, well, that's true.
The markets are fidgety anyway. But again, recognize with all he had against him, they've tried to bring him down with how many different, with everything.
I mean, all of that. I heard what you said about supply chain. That's true. But his attempts over the last, say, 3 weeks to sort of try and calm everybody down, become like the father figure of the country, sort of lead, provide leadership, has just failed miserably.
I don't think so. Not from what I'm talking to out here. Most people I know see right through the bullshit the mainstream media is putting out. I mean, most people have lost complete faith in the mainstream media. They don't believe a damn word they say because they've been lied to so much.
Well, okay, I know that, but what about all the sporting organisations, starting with the NBA, just shutting things down? That's all rubbish.
No, I think, look, you understand that the people we're talking about are stone cold psychopaths. They do not care if they kill 3,000, 3 million, or 3 billion. They do not care.
I'm talking about the NBA, not psychopaths.
I understand, but they'll be willing to go ahead and crush the economy and hurt a lot of people just to get him out. Because he is a stone in their shoe. He is a nationalist. What is the two things that have been in the lexicon over the past decade? Nationalism, globalism. Globalists against nationalists. Globalists are basically why? They want a one world government, a one world currency. Well, what's been the dream of every tyrant that's ever lived? A one world government. Well,
See, you're going up to the end there again, man.
But it's real. It's as real as death. We still got people saying we ought to have open borders.
Yeah, there are some, but not that many.
Not that many.
And they're not. Look,
you got all the EU saying that.
Yeah, they've got some influence, but the EU has been a very dodgy experiment, which has largely failed. So if you're looking at that as a sort of a future model of world government, I don't think you're going to get very far because it hasn't worked very well.
Because it doesn't work. In other words, the things that these people are trying to do, just like what Hitler tried to do, just like what Stalin tried to do, what Mao tried to do, always failed. Always fail because their models are flawed.
Well, if the models are flawed and they fail, why the hell would anyone follow them?
Because no one ever accused them of being smart. No one ever accused these people of being rational and smart. They are psychopaths. They keep on making the same mistakes over and over and over again because in their minds, they're right and we're wrong. And they got to control us. Remember, the whole thing's about control. They have a deep spirit in them about control. They need it. I mean, look, you got your Bloomberg up there telling us what size sodas we can drink. I mean, my God, you can't drink 32-ounce sodas. Well, okay, I'll buy 2 16-ounces. Screw you. I mean, they never understand. They never get beyond the depth of their own control. They have a limited intelligence. They're not creative.
Can I just leave? Look, it's been lovely talking to you.
Yeah.
Can I just leave you with one thought, though?
Sure.
And I want to sort of try and end on a positive note. I said, and I think you heard what I said and understood it, that we've got on one end the sort of the naive fools that just believe everything that CNN might say or whatever. That those people, who get pissed on and think it's raining, to use a crude expression. And then on the other end, there are. I won't put you in the camp, but there are the sort of extreme sort of conspiracy, deep state type people. The truth is somewhere in between. And just think about that.
I do. I mean, I realize. Oh, yeah, like I brought up to this young man that was here. Not all elites are in this category circuit. If you look up, there's a documentary called Thrive. You're familiar, of course, with Procter and Gamble.
Yeah.
Probably one of the top. I think it's the third largest conglomerate in the world. Foster Gamble, heir to that vast fortune, groomed to be a top 0.00001%. As a young man, had an epiphany, and he goes, I am surrounded by insane psychopaths. The people I am in my circle are nuts, crazy. So he broke from the elitist agenda. He made this documentary called Thrive. In there, he exposes how the elites rule everything. He breaks it down very simply, so even a layperson can understand. And he exposes government cover-ups for over 100 years. Things, technology they've suppressed and kept from us to keep us free.
Well, I'll ask you a blunt question. Give me a blunt answer. Mm-hmm. I've got a PhD. I'm a university professor. As you said, I'm reasonably wealthy and quite free in terms of what I can do with my life. Am I part of an elite?
No, you're a smart individual.
Yeah.
You're a smart individual who's probably steeped so much. In other words, one of the things that's hard to do is to block out or to open yourself up. You've gained from a system because you were intelligent enough to do that. So it's hard for you to go against that system you've gained from. You're not going to challenge that system because you've gained from it. You say, look, I was educated, I took advantage of what there was lay out there, I've become wealthy, I'm knowledgeable. You can't tell me that there's someone up there trying to kill me. I've gained from this. Well,
maybe you have as well. Maybe you've got a stake in it as well, in your position.
Well, I'm not as well off as you, so I can't go there. I was in as smart as you.
Lovely to talk to you.
Oh, it was a pleasure, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah. You got one of my cards already, right?
I got one.
All right.
So did you stick with it? Because, as I say, how do I give this up? How am I going to have these kind of encounters in any other way? How do you give it up? It'd be like saying goodbye to someone you love. Thanks for coming by. God bless you. See you on the streets.